Good morning, folks. You know who this is. Oh. Good morning, folks. Hang it. Good morning, folks. Admiral Preparedness here. Well, that's what happens when you don't prep. Well, folks, I hate to say this, but there are just some things you can't prep for. And in Florida, a whole building just fell down on those people. You could prep for decades and not have that come upon you at all. Something went wrong. The building inspector was just there the other day, making sure it had its 40-year anniversary certification. There was construction going on nearby. This one is a lawyer's wet dream, folks. If you know anybody who knows I'm so sorry for him. That young boy, there was a young man who was, they found him, they brought him out. His mom's still missing, but I fear for a lot of those folks. It's a high-rise building, 12 stories, collapsed in Florida. They're going to find out, they'll get to the bottom, but that's no problem. You know what I'm talking about, no pun intended. But some survivors got out. If you ain't watched the news, don't, because it's pretty grim. But that's something that you just can't prep for. A building collapsing around you in the middle of the night. Now, what I believe should probably be a good idea to do in your abode in these aging buildings, you know how they have those beds that have the curtains around the bed? I would probably think about getting some structural steel and building a frame around your bed. So at least if your building collapses, there'll be a void around you, because that structural steel would be strong enough, depending on where you're at. Now, if you're on the bottom floor and 30 stories come down on you, well, call you Mr. Pancake. But if you're up on the, top 5 floors, you would probably ride it out okay. This is a structural engineer's worst nightmare, and in Florida with sinkholes, that might be what happened. I do not know. I just saw that building go down, and it fell from the bottom, so the whole bottom failed. And then when I saw the pool, where the pool was, the pool's empty, and right beside it is a big area where the ground had collapsed underneath. It just dropped. You see one section, and then you got about a 4 or 5 foot drop, and then it all just fell. So I'm going to go ahead and not make any guesses, because that's just not my job, but I will be saying a prayer. And maybe you too should say a prayer too, because something like this could happen again and again and again and again and again. But I just want to say, all you folks out there, if you live in some of these old buildings like this, it was built in 1981 or 1982. That's relatively young for a building when we got Philadelphia, the White House, Capitol building. So they'll be going through all the paperwork. They'll be going through all the permits. They'll be going through this inspector that was there doing something about the building project that was going on before. But there is tale that the ground there had been subsiding since the 90s. So this might be something to pay attention to. And, it can happen to you too. But this is one of those ones that you just can't prepare for. I don't know how you could prevent a building collapse. Otherwise, just don't live in them. I live in a 1-story building. If you call the basement a story, so we live in a 2-story basement or 2-story, depending on where you're living. Any of you folks out there in high rises, I don't know what to tell you. I wouldn't live there. That's why I don't. I'm preparedness here. I don't know. This is a head scratcher. And remember, folks, it can happen from the north, it can happen from the south, it can happen from the east, or coming from the west. Always be prepared. And if you've enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. or I'll be out there waiting for you to come to me. Admiral Preparedness, God bless you all.